imagine for a second if you could take what you already have and turn it into money. What you're looking at, what you have in your pipeline already is money. You just need to figure out whose money it is. Is it yours or is it your competition's? The person that ultimately puts that money into their pocket is going to be the person that shows up with a great product, a great service, is a great professional, is able to deliver clearly on what that person wants, and then is able to engage in a professional manner until that customer is ready to buy. The only question is whether that's you or not. Most of you think that you need more leads. You don't need more leads. You need to stop your bucket from leaking because you are losing leads out the bottom of it. And so in this session number 1, I want to help to expose where those leaks actually live. And I'm going to give you some practical steps to take care of that right now. So first, I want to talk about the misdiagnosis. So I hear a lot of feedback that I want to address because this is really, really important. So again, we're gonna speak from the scenario in which you've already presented an estimate or a quote to a potential client. Okay, and so you think, or you've been told that they're just shopping. Oh, I'm just getting some ideas. Can I tell you right now that they're lying to you? None of us kicks tires. I know we hear that a lot. We got tire kickers out there. I mean, there's probably a few examples of that happening, but more often than not, they're just trying to figure out if what they desire fits the budget and the timeline that they desire as well. They're gonna do it with somebody at some point. Just have to figure out when and who. I also hear a lot of you say that, oh, you know what? They went dark. They don't want to work with us. They probably found somebody else. I'm like, probably? You're willing to risk $15,000 in profit on probablys? Come on. That's not rejection. That's unknown. I also know that some of you do follow up a little bit and it's ugly. You get emotional, kind of start freaking out. You get a little bit desperate. And so you start saying crazy things like, hey, I'm just checking in with you. Hey, I'm just following up on that quote. That's nuts. You're not saying anything at all when you're saying those things. I need you to understand that it's not about effort, it's about structure. The reason why your bucket is leaking is because of a lack of structure. Even if you have structure, you can improve that structure. As a contractor, as a tradesperson, you're not failing because you're not working hard. You're failing because you don't have the systems or you are not following the system. Okay. So I want to introduce to you 5 quote leak points that could be critical to the success or failure of your business. Okay. 5 quote leak points. So hope you're writing these down. And by the way, you're like, Ryan, where's your slides today? I don't have them because I want to talk to you. I want you to think about this for yourself. So the first quote leak point that I often see is undefined pipeline stages. What's crazy is many of you are using a system to produce your estimates that you could customize, or you could use some of their default templates to label, because not everything is sent estimate. It goes far beyond that. There are a lot more details involved. There are a lot more nuances to what stage your prospect is in. But if it's just sent estimate, I have no idea what is next. You have no clarity as to what's even going on. And God forbid you have somebody else in your business that's following up on these things or supposed to be following up. They don't even know what to do next. So that's the first one. The second quote leak point that I see a lot is that there is no required next step. There is no required next action. I'm just going to say this as straightforward as I possibly can. And by the way, I'm saying all these things because I am so passionate about seeing you. I hope you're going to back up what I'm going to say, but you, who is a great person doing great work with a great service and a great product, I want to see you succeed. I truly do. That's why we have been building a community that at its foundational level is of no cost. Offering for, I mean, our quote conversion blueprint, which is probably something that you downloaded, even if you've never looked at it, is something that you downloaded to get here. Like that, we ran ads. You probably found us that way. You downloaded that tool. If you just use that quote conversion blueprint and then our custom GPT that we created to help you implement that, it would change, transform so many of your businesses. And that's free. We don't get anything out of that, not a dollar. I'm doing this because I believe in this, and I'm passionate about this because I believe in this. I also know that for those of you that are willing to implement those things, you're like, oh my gosh, if he's going to give us this for free, I can only imagine what he's willing to give us if we pay him a little bit of money. So that's what we're here for. I mean, I'm in business to make money. I think you are too. Okay. You don't have a required next action step. Every single quote that you send, every single quote that you provide, every single estimate that you generate should have a next step scheduled before you hang up. And you may be saying to yourself, Ryan, how in the heck am I going to schedule a follow up conversation with my prospect if I'm emailing them the quote? And I go, aha, there's a problem. You should never blindly email a quote or an estimate. You should only ever deliver a quote when you're on the phone with that prospect or when you're in front of that prospect's face. I'm just going to put a pin in that one for another day. But just trust me when I say if you're sending quotes blind, you're in big trouble. Even if you close some deals, you could close way more. It's another conversation. So if you are in front of that person, if you are on the phone with that person, and you walk through that quote with them and they say to you, I got to talk to my spouse, I got to think about it. Okay, I got to wait a couple of weeks. No problem, no problem, no problem. When would you like to schedule a conversation to discuss your decision? When would you like to schedule a conversation to share with me what your spouse said? Put the dang thing on the calendar. And if you can, send them a calendar invite. They do it at work, they'll do it for you too. Every quote needs to have a scheduled next step before you hang up or before you leave that house. Number three, emotional follow up. Emotional follow up is a quote leak point. One of the number one ways that I see emotion drive follow up is that you reach out when you feel like it or remember to instead of operating on a specific timeline. You grab your paper, and you're like, oh my gosh, whew, I haven't had any work in 2 days. My techs are pissed off at me because they're slow and I can't give them any. Okay, I better start. I better start following. By the time I get to most of those people, they've gone with my competition because my competition followed up with them. Can't afford to do that. Emotion can't drive follow up. Intentionality must drive follow up. You need to create a timeline, which is exactly what our quote conversion blueprint is. You need to create that timeline so I can plan and then execute on my plan. Who was it? Benjamin Franklin attributed to saying, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I mean, this is just killing you. We can convert far more quotes if we would simply plan to succeed and then execute on it. Number four, the fourth quote leak point that I see all too often when I'm talking to you, I've talked to many of you. The fourth quote leak point that I see is there is no visibility into stalled deals. If you can't see where a deal sits by stage, you can't fix bottlenecks. Look at this isn't just about converting that one quote in the moment. That's about preventing other quotes from getting into that bottleneck. I may not be able to revive all of my past quotes. I was just talking to one of my clients here recently, and they were sharing with me that they were doing two things at the same time, not four, two things at the same time. And those two things were they were re engaging with all of their stalled deals to figure out what was going on, but they were fixing their follow up system to ensure that nobody ever got stuck again. They wanted complete clarity as to where everybody was in the decision making process. I should be able to go into your CRM, into your job management software, into your spreadsheet. If I was to come in from the outside, and I should be able to see exactly why that customer called us in the first place, what specifically they wanted, where their challenges, struggles, pain points, or barriers to choosing me are, and what's next. Four quote leak points. The fifth quote leak point is no revival system. Most contractors rarely, if ever, reopen old quotes systematically. And remember how earlier I said that there are few tire kickers that actually exist? But sometimes what happens is somebody thinks, man, you know what? It's about time I get that new roof. And so they have you come out. They really like you. They give you, you give them an estimate. You do all the right things and you try to stay engaged with them, but they're like, no, what, Susie? Now's just not the right time. I'm not prepared to spend $55,000 on a new roof. I don't even know if that's the right price, but I've heard that number, so I'm going to go with it. And so it just kind of goes quiet and we stop following up and we just think that that prospect, they just went away. And maybe they went with somebody else. All the while, what we don't know behind the scenes is that homeowner ended up going through all kinds of challenges. They lost a family member. They One of their children had a new child, and so they became a grandparent. Then there was Christmas and New Year's. Then they were planning their family trip. So man, they're spending money, they're stressed out. They never ended up getting that new roof. And if somebody would have just stayed engaged with them, hey, I'm here. Hey, we're running a deal. Hey, we've got this new opportunity. Hey, there's this new material you should look at. You have no idea when they're actually going to make that decision because they never told you because you were too afraid to ask and you just assumed. And y'all know what assume really stands for. I won't say it here, but you get the picture. We should consistently re engage with old quotes until they tell us, I bought from somebody else or get out of my face and never call me again. Five quote leak points. I guarantee you that most of you are struggling with more than one of them. But even if you just fixed one of them, it could drastically improve the revenue you're generating in your business. If you're generating 6 million bucks a month, 10% is a lot of money. If you're generating $6,000 a month, 10% is a lot of money. We're not trying to make massive overhauls all at once. We're trying to fix one thing at a time until we are a well-oiled machine firing on all cylinders. You don't need more hustle. You need the right architecture. Okay, so what does clean pipeline activity actually look like? Because we want to build a good, clean, predictable pipeline that we can convert at the highest rate possible. So begin with the end in mind. That's what Stephen Covey says. He is one of the people that I look up to more than anybody. God rest his soul. He inspired me greatly with his 7 habits of highly effective people. And one of the 7 habits of highly effective people was beginning with the end in mind. So, what should the end look like? This is where all the money is made. This is where all the opportunity exists for you. Okay. If you get to here, you're never going to look back. You know, all of those businesses out there, they're getting gobbled up by private equity, and you're like, man, I wish they would look at me. This is for you. If you're like, man, I want to build a business that's a legacy for generation after generation, this is for you. Okay. 5 things. We're on fives today. If you want to create predictable revenue that builds you the business of your dreams, the business that you want, the business that you desire to start in the first place, 5 things. You need clearly defined stages in your pipeline. You need to ensure that every single opportunity is assigned to a stage. You need to ensure that every single stage is tied to a next action. You need to ensure that weekly rhythm is reviewed, meaning you are looking at your activity on a day in, day out, week in, week out basis, and that no quote is ever, ever given without a follow up being scheduled. This isn't actually very complicated. We've made it far more complicated than it is because we're living in chaos right now. It's like trying to hold down a stack of papers in the middle of a tornado, but it don't got to be that way because we can prevent the tornado from ever getting to us if we're just careful. So once we collect all those papers and get them into order, we can really figure out how to make this thing work. It's not complicated, but it does require discipline and it requires installation. And if what I described to you sounds familiar, this is exactly what we fix when people engage with us, specifically in our 30-day quote conversion sprint. This is not about joining another course. You don't need another course. This is not about theory. You don't need any more theory. This is about hands-on system installation. Because for many of you, you're already overwhelmed. That's why you downloaded our tool and you weren't able to do anything with it, because you don't have the time or resources to invest anywhere else because you got to stay focused on what's right in front of you. You're reacting, you're not even able to be proactive. But when we do this on behalf of our clients, in 30 days, we can completely transform this entire process. In week 1 of this sprint, we'll define the pipeline stages. We'll help you clean up your active quotes. We'll identify exactly where revenue is leaking and install pipeline hygiene rules. After week 1 of 4 weeks, you will have total clarity on every single opportunity in your pipeline. So if this is your challenge, one or all 5 of what I shared earlier, you got a leaky pipeline, call a plumber. Now, don't call a plumber because maybe you are a plumber. If you've got a leaky pipeline, then I want to encourage you to consider this 30-day SOS quote conversion sprint. We're going to build it for you, with you, but really for you. One conversation it's going to take, and we're going to help you build exactly what you need. We cap this because we want to make sure that we can actually take action on this. So we only do this about 10 times a month. We won't have availability to start doing this again until March. So this is being recorded the 19th of February. So it's going to be about 2 weeks before we have another slot open up. But if you want to learn more about this, then just check out the post inside our school community for those of you that are already in it, or you can click the link below and you can check out more if you're looking for it outside of that. Look at, I just want you to imagine for a second if you could take what you already have and turn it into money. Now I want you to think about something even more important than that. What you're looking at, what you have in your pipeline already is money. You just need to figure out whose money it is. Is it yours or is it your competition's? The person that ultimately puts that money into their pocket is going to be the person that shows up with a great product, a great service, is a great professional, is able to deliver clearly on what that person wants, and then is able to engage in a professional manner until that customer is ready to buy. The only question is whether that's you or not. So if you want to turn your pipeline into profit, then I want to encourage you to engage with us beyond just watching videos like this. This will help, but it's only a start. Again, if it's just about information, you would already have access to everything you need. But by engaging with us in a more structured manner, we can help you take that to the next level. So, leaky pipeline, do something about it. You want to stick around and see what's coming up next? Feel free. Our next Jumpstart session, which is going to be in 2 weeks, we're going to be sharing the second part in this series on converting quotes. This is something that we will continue to beat until that horse is so dead it will never come back to life. Because this is the thing that is killing more contractors than anything else out there. On that note, thank you guys so much. I so appreciate the community members that are participating, that are watching live and or via recording. I appreciate you, those of you outside the community that are willing to give us a chance and join the community or join our next quote conversion sprint. These are one-on-one conversations, by the way. These are not done in group setting. So if that's something you want to check out, feel free to click one of the links below. Click that link in the community post, or you can DM me on the platform. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions and jump into this joy with you to help you profit as much as possible from all those quotes that are already sitting there. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you participating, you being a part of what we're doing here to make every single one of you as great as you possibly can be. Peace.